Maybe it'll work. Maybe it will not work. We
It's
never
gonna
know.
do the reconnect thing. It's like 8
Yeah.
seconds or whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. I'm just going to roll with it, man. I'm going to be like, hey,
Yeah,
we're
see
live.
if it-
maybe everything
Clearly,
is
we're live,
going
and I forgot to
on.
mute the phone.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, which is probably another beautiful day. Nay, a great day for Linux.
Yes.
But every day is really a great day
Sure
for
is.
Linux, isn't it?
Yes.
Sure is.
Yay.
There we go.
Hi, Arthur. Hi, S. Michelle. Hi, Mir PPC.
Phone is shushed.
Good. Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Don't
Oh,
shush.
poor Pedro. Google Voice was giving him the business last week.
I was talking about him, and they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about us? Okay. Yep.
Yeah. That was fun.
I know you're all listening, Google.
No, we're Google. We wouldn't do that.
It's actually a little bit scary when you're like talking about something with someone, and the conversation drags on just long enough, and then you pull out your phone, and the first website you hit, there's an ad relevant to the thing you were talking about. It's like, oh, God damn it, Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
These things are true, and these things unfortunately do happen. But
Yep.
gotta check myself a little bit. Maybe bring myself up just a hair right about there. Is
There we go.
there a hair? Okay.
Yes.
That is certainly a little bit louder.
A little bit louder. That's what we're aiming for. Mediocrity.
A little bit louder. You gotta talk a little harder than that. A little harder.
A little harder, boy.
Yay. So I got my LWW merch literally right. It was, it came during last LWW. When we were, yeah. I did rush shipping because otherwise it takes almost a month to get stuff.
Patience, man. Don't order stuff from China.
Yeah.
I like ordering stuff from AliExpress.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you forget. I have legitimately found it's like, oh, a surprise package. I'm like, what's this? I have
Yes.
no idea.
Yes. I have a couple mice coming from the slow boat from China, from Amazon. And, it's going to be 2 or 3 months before I get them, but it'll be a nice surprise.
It's
Yeah,
always
they
fun.
say it's 3 weeks to 3 months. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
If it gets here, it gets here. Whatever.
Good rule of thumb, just never order anything you want, because every
Yeah.
day you'll be checking like the international post. It's like, is it on a
Yeah.
plane? Is it on a boat? Who knows? What's up, Pennywise?
I
Hey,
did
Pennywise,
have...
hey, Arthur.
Yay,
Hey, Shay.
There,
Shay.
she and Linda.
They're from China. Sometimes you get lucky. I've had like 2 weeks.
Yeah, very true. I had one time when I ordered a bunch of Christmas presents and, 6 months ahead of time. And I finally got the items a month before Christmas. But they'd already given me a refund thinking they weren't showing up. So I got 2 sets of them. And they were expensive items. And I said, well, I was honest with them. I said, I'll send back the second. They said, oh, don't worry. It happens. so I got 2 sets, which was nice. They were nice watches, actually.
There was one thing I got a refund and then still got the item like a month later. I think it was the fan that's in Nori's PC right now, that teeny tiny heatsink from Noctua, which I ordered. It was secondhand, but it was off Amazon. It's like, okay, you said it was going to be like from 2 days to a week. It's been 2 weeks. It hasn't come. What the hell? I was like, well, I guess it got lost. I'll just give you a refund. It's like, okay, cool. And then about a month later, it just showed
up. Yeah. So it's like, oh, don't bother.
It's like, oh, okay then.
Lost in the post is legit.
Yeah.
You have to type out, just genuinely tap out. I know I've tapped out on like 2 or 3 items that you can put a tracer on. By the way, if you're in the America, they have GPS coordinates on their scatters when they deliver things. They don't tell you that, and they'll initially deny it at the post office. Stand there. give a good
Yeah.
forceful look around. It's like, there's no one in here that can get me out of here unless you call the authorities. You're like, okay, we'll look it up. Okay, turns out we didn't deliver it to your house. And it's like, I was under this
Yeah, no
impression.
shit.
This is why I'm here. Gear Beast, yep. Gear Beast is the thing. Yeah, I pretty much just get everything through AliExpress.
Yeah, if you want a weird
Yeah, it's-
connector or a weird converter or a weird anything,
Yeah.
if it's not on
Ellie's,
eBay, it's on AliExpress.
That you're not worried about it lasting long. Preferably something that's not flammable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you have the companies directly contacting you, wanting to know if you'll distribute for them. This has happened on more than one occasion. Hi, Easy Cap.
Yeah, we often get our swag for scale for the Linux Chicks booth from Allie, the main site, so we can order in bulk.
That's a
Because it's actually
good way to do it.
cheaper.
Yeah.
cheaper than AliExpress.
Yep.
But it's a little more work. You got to contact the seller, and sometimes there have been times, and Sharon's in chat also, she knows there's been times we needed a different quantity than what they would offer. So we'd contact them, and they'd usually fulfill it if we needed less.
Yeah.
I was,
You're like, I'd like to give you money. You wanna
yeah,
work
we don't
something
want.
out?
Yeah, we don't need 1,000 of these. You know, we need maybe 500. Or 10,000, I should say.
Oh, come on, Sorceress. What kind of millennial are you raising there? He looks nothing like a hipster.
Pedro,
Steve-O!
Th-
Hi,
this is-
Steve-O!
this is where I gotta throw it in. You are legitimately in the millennial age category.
I know.
I
It's
am.
from 1985 to 2000 something.
Dude, according to
Yeah.
Wiki, it's like 1981. I was like, I think you're
Oh,
stretching.
they've extended it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep extending it.
I'm just like Neo dodge a
Oh.
bullet.
Yeah, S. Michelle, so my cup today is a NASA cup. I figure we have a story involving NASA today. NASA and Linux. Steven's NASA cup. And I got some nice herbal tea in there.
81 to 96. Oof.
I thought that was Generation Y at first.
Give it a week. Give it a week.
I don't know. When the term millennials was first introduced, I always heard it used as people born in and around the change to, the second millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people refer to it as when you graduate from high school, which is really confusing because there's no set standard.
I'm trying to get everyone's audio dialed in, so...
Okay.
Cool.
That's my trick, ladies and gentlemen, at home to make sure no one talks.
I mean, you say you gotta dial things in. It's like, okay, do your thing. It's like I gotta reset the noise gate, or I gotta do this.
Oh, no,
Give me a sec.
if I gotta do that, I'll politely ask everyone to shut the hell up. It's usually a better strategy of like, go do something. Then I forget. You and Jordan have both done it. You're like, oh, okay, I'll go get something to drink. Then a loud noise in the background. I'm like, really? You know you've been there when
Yeah.
we were doing it.
Mhm.
1983 there, baby.
That's a millennial, apparently, Oni.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the only one here besides maybe Linux Ganuru, who's Gen X. And my husband. And she is pretty close.
You're telling me. Although, all things considered, it's like, oh, the millennials, they can't find steady jobs, they can't afford a house, they can't afford this, they can't afford that. You don't say. It's like, yeah, I couldn't even find a job.
You found a job.
Yeah, after, going to a completely different country.
I'm just saying, man. Because we all got the friend. We all know that one person's like, I can't find anything. I'm like, dude, in your profession, I mean, if you move like, maybe, a country in Europe is equivalent, but a few states over, they're hiring like crazy. Like, but no, man, I can't find work. What exactly would I do right here? I'm like, well, that's not here's fault.
Mm-hmm.
1997? I don't know. What happened in 1997? Were there any good movies in 1997?
Didn't Quake come out in 1997?
Were there any good movies in 1997?
I don't know. I was like 11 in 1997.
What was going on in 97? Let's see.
Multipass?
That-
That came out in 97.
Fifth Element. Okay.
Fifth Element. We always call it Multipass. That was Steve and I's second date. We thought it would be a lame movie, and it ended up being one of our favorites of all time. It was a hit. Everyone thought it would be, kind of lame.
At the box office, I mean, it tanked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did.
Was not a popular movie. It was one of those that lived on, man.
Yeah, the cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out a little silly. I mean, the aliens look a little silly at the beginning. We're like, oh no, a B movie, a B sci-fi.
It is a B movie.
It is a B movie, yeah.
Well, it is, but it's a very, very well. Yeah, it's a little higher than B to me. It's very well done. It's meant to be fun and campy, taking off on the B movie. But
yes, all definitions of a good B action movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it yet, ladies and gentlemen, I highly suggest that you go watch Good Omens if you're a fan of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and David Tennant as Doctor Who, because that's a fusion of those two things.
Yeah,
Very
it's basically
cool.
Doctor Who without any of the moral qualms.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, at least they threw a character in there I can relate to.
Yep.
Well,
pretty
I still got to
interesting.
watch that.
Yeah, that was a genuinely fun show. Apparently there's not going to be any more of it, which is, sad, but...
I didn't think there would be, and I asked Captain, I read the book Saturday, which I just assumed. And I was like, can they continue that? Is that like a one and done? Which is fine as a one and done, but it's like, I would have watched that as a series.
And they did, like, during the show, they set up, like, a bunch of subplots.
Uh-huh.
And on the last episode, it's like, oh, yeah, and the big one is coming. Okay, can we do a series about that?
Throwaway subplots, man. I still don't know about the smoke monster. Yeah, Lost, I remember.
Everyone forgot about that. They found a hatch.
Dude, that show. I don't even know what to say about that last series of Lost. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna finish it, all right.
I saw the first 3 seasons, and then I saw the last episode. It's like, oh, I didn't miss anything. Cool.
I used to watch it. We'd have karaoke night, and it was on before I'd go and open the bar. So I'd never watched the first series. I started like halfway through the second, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's something to do. I wasn't hooked on it.
Oh no, there were some people in university while that was on. They watched it religiously.
Well, I mean, people get tied into weird stuff, man. I've been watching a lot of like Star Trek. There's like 2 or 3 different people on YouTube that are like, oh, here's every boring nerd fact about this particular sovereign class of ship or the whatever. Then I watch like the 2-hour supercut this one guy did about just the Borg. And like halfway through, he's arguing about how Voyager is the superior series compared to Discovery. And I'm like, really?
Oh.
See, the only 2-hour video like arguing a point that I remember seeing on YouTube.
This is going to bed. I need to qualify that. You know, that thing that you have to find that's interesting enough to kind of pay attention to, but not so interesting that would keep you awake. It has to have that balance. You know, you don't want to be trying to fall asleep, then they get into like, oh, I don't know anything about that. All right. What?
Yeah, no, I saw one of those big videos, and it was about Fallout 3 versus Fallout New Vegas. Just because that's an argument I've had. Go ahead, Jill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just noticing our Linux supercomputer stories in there twice. Then which one would... do you want to use the first one or the second one?
It
got pasted twice.
Second one.
Okay. So you want me to get rid of the first one? Oh, okay. You already did it. Good.
It's like magic. Collaborative.
Yes. Yes.
Isn't that a weird thing? You think back even like a decade ago. Like, yeah, on collab because, yeah, that didn't really exist.
No.
And a viable thing. You don't think twice about it now.
No.
Archer.
And I keep seeing at work people trying to do this with Office 365. It's like, but now the document is locked. Okay, give me a sec.
It's security. You're like, this is a job for Xeon Laptop Man.
But it's so pretty. Xeon and a Quadro GPU.
You're gonna be hearing about that for months, kids.
Yeah. Yes. It's awesome.
I've watched the first episode of the new Archer. I'm gonna let it build up. And the first episode didn't do anything for me. I was like, all right, you have to set the stage, and I get that. And we'll see. I'll let it fill up because Archer you can burn through, and they're like 15 minutes long, really.
Not Tesla here.
What?
It has, Xeon
no, it's a
processor.
Xeon, a Quadro, and Tesla. You install 7 Linux on it.
Yeah.
There was that Tesla game.
What?
That you play as Tesla in the...
Tesla versus...
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, yeah. It was a good game, considering, for, like, just a bullet hell. Yeah. But...
I gotta watch the taco clock. I will be right back.
Right.
Cool.
The 16 core Pedro, put it in your veins, baby.
It's way too much money. I cannot afford that.
I was sitting over here in my ivory throne, watching the peasants scream about, I can't believe it costs so much money. It's like, cry me river.
It's $750. That's not bad. It is if the benchmarks hold up compared to what they showed. Absolutely, that is a one hell of a 9900K or 9900KS killer. Absolutely.
I think it's brilliant, especially if it's just going to work in like your basic, not like a B350, but the X570.
Mm-hmm.
If it works in that makes it significantly cheaper, because if you look at that compared to a 2950,
yeah,
16 core, which is currently on our wish zone if anyone wants to buy that. I'm not. It's $799, so it's $749. So it's $749 minus another $300.
Yeah,
that you're going to pay for the most basic bones Threadripper motherboard. But the X570 is not going to be cheap. But it's you're probably going to be, they have a $300 variant of that, it's going to have wings.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, it'll certainly have a fan over the chipset. Constant whirring noise.
Man, I had this great idea. I was like, I'm gonna put Jackbox in like a 4U because I got a rack right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, let's do that. But they do not make this. This is an underserved market, which I'm probably the customer for. Without dustbusters for the cooling solution, you know, I was like, find me a good 4U case. Also, like $100 case, man, that'll fit a regular ATX motherboard and doesn't have a row of 60 millimeter, 19,000 RPM fans on the front of it for the cooling solution.
You could probably ditch the fans, though.
I can probably just make it out of sheet metal, but
Yeah. Yeah, if you can find one of those, like just a bare bones case with the fans, just get rid of the fans and mount us like a 1400, 140 millimeter fan in the front. There.
nah, bruh, water cooler, water chiller, nah.
Or yeah, you'd probably have room for that.
You probably could, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, as long as you did it right, I mean, at least it would hold the water if it's from the leak. I was looking at Scott, and I think it was Vicious. He's just got a new job as admin, and like the server farm he's working over is all immersion cooling.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was talking to Scott about, because the only time I've ever dealt with that were some Sun S20 plumbing for the heat exchangers. Don't look up what S20s were, kids, because I used to have to deal with those things. But I was like, I wonder what, because you know, Novak, 3M Novak, which is your, stuff's wicked expensive, but you can find reclaimed Novak 7100 for about $20-$25 for 5 liters, which is better than $300 to $400.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we'll do an immersion cooling.
Yeah, you see my server rack there? Yeah, that's a bathtub.
This is gonna make it like, you know, get some to pressurize it and a water hose so I can just hold it. Oh no. I've always liked to play around with liquid cooling, but immersion, that... I don't know,
See,
man.
it made me very uncomfortable when we had that story about that guy that put the Raspberry Pi in a tank filled with mineral oil. It's like,
Yeah.
that looks wrong. That just looked wrong.
Mineral oil will climb. I've learned that. We did some mineral oil cooling back in the day. If you have the cables running out, it'll work its way up. It's magic like that. It wants freedom. It's like 3 liters of Braveheart, man.
Yeah. Turns out when it gets hot, it, you know, becomes less dense, so it tends to, like, oh, look, a cool surface I can attach to. It's like...
If everyone wants a fun subreddit, I joined it for the wrong reason. Actually, the right reason. Turned out it was just the wrong subreddit. Now I'm like, oh yes, this is even better once you realize what it really is. Our home labs. It's for people who were building, basically somebody who's got a rack.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building like, oh, these are my network switches and all. Nah, son, this is about hoarding. This is organized. This is next level organized hoarding. It's awesome. I love it.
Cool. I saw
it.
the home entertainment PC you posted, Ben, the piece of furniture.
Yeah, what did you think about that?
Yeah.
Too ugly?
That was, no, it was beautiful.
There was a bit of an ugly bit with the broken thing at the front. If that
Oh,
was
okay.
like all
You see,
mesh.
I would have had like a late 80s iOmega 40 meg tape cartridge backup, like slot on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And made like, I don't know, like a Zeppelin cover for it or a Sabbath cover. That would be a thing. I don't know, HTPCs. Yeah. I've had a Myth TV that I built years ago. That's about it. I got mobile devices now.
The Steambox 360.
A Steambox. I got a Steambox that I built that I've totally used. It's like that first gen APU in it. It's junk.
The one thing I did that ever got any kind of notoriety on the internet ever. The Steambox 360, yeah.
No,
That
was
was awesome.
great. I told my boy over at Academ, I'm like, here's the thing. It's like, boom, there we go. Then you had everyone, the do nothings of the internet, the ones that show up and they're like, that's stupid. And the people
I've read those comments religiously, mind you.
who are not going to do anything. And I'm like, what are you at the end of the day? Professional internet critic? You know, I think the internet's good, Brad. You have that. Then you have the armchair. Well, this is how I would have done it, even though you would have never done it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did, you wouldn't have taken the initiative in the firestorm of, hey, internet, I did a thing. Come check it out. It's fun. We're well acquainted with the internet on these things.
One of the things that surprised me was on PC Part Picker, when I posted like the pictures and everything there, people were actually asking questions like, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? It's like, my answer to everything was Dremel.
Yeah.
Dremel.
I mean...
Oh, but those standoffs. Yeah, those cost like £5 on Amazon. Here's the link. Go ahead.
There's not much you can't do with a Dremel and a 3D printer. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I tried to give my 3D printer to our little maker thing, and they're like, oh, we don't want it. It's like, okay. It's a first-gen maker bot. It's junk.
Mm.
It was a cool project.
There is one way I can improve on it, but it's going to require one of those Pico power supplies that they call them.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
That they basically turn like one of those big Dell 180 watt power supplies into like 400 watts of power. And it's with that, in the exact same place where I have the current power supply, I could have a, well, not full-sized video card, because, you know, it would be longer than the Xbox 360 case is wider, but I could totally have like one of those half-sized GPUs in there.
I have nothing but mad respect when I see a like Dell or HP with just the top cut out of it. Instead, it's like right on.
It's like
Right on.
I had an Optiplex and I needed to fit this GPU in there, so I cut the side off.
Dude,
Yeah.
go for it. I mean, that's putting a lot. That's actually showing effort. Like just doing it's leaving the side off. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And chances are that fan is going to help cool the rest of the system as well, because, oh look, open air.
Yeah.
I put 2 SSDs in these Optiplexes like day before yesterday, and I didn't even use tape, which is my normal mounting solution, gaffer's tape, because you can wedge it right in between the existing hard drive, which, you know, it's toolless. It's a Dell. They just pop out.
Yeah.
But it sits there just perfectly, like right in front of the fan. And I was like, that's good for airflow. I'm leave it like that. It's great. $20 SSDs, man. Kingston. Love them.
Yes. They're great. Oh, those are good ones. Yeah, I've got quite a few in my... I replaced a lot of the old spinning rust in my laptops with those $20 ones.
120 gigs or 128
Yeah.
gigs for $20. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're living in the future. How nice.
I know. It's awesome.
It's definitely but what about reliable? $20, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $20.
Like I wouldn't
Instead
even.
of going out to dinner, get 2 SSDs.
I wouldn't
There.
even bother with a warranty.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just give me another one. All right. Let's grab something to drink. Let's do a show.
Okay.
Indeed.
Speaking of rust. Oh, is that like what the kids are doing with their cars, man? Trying to like age them?
That's not patina.
Oh.
That's just straight up corrosion.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. Yeah, Arthur, and I've seen
Oh yeah.
the small form.
Oh yeah,
factor.
there's
I've
the
seen that one
Optiplex with the
before.
side cut off.
Yeah. So lame. Oh god.
We have a stack of those at work. They're like
Yeah.
the old Ivy Bridge versions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And yeah, they're mostly i3s, which is why no one wants them, and they just sits there. They just sit there.
You know, there's probably a legitimate market for Optiplex's side panels with a bump.
Yeah.
Considering you could get them for less than $100 on eBay, and the graphics card to go with it's another $100.
The
Yeah.
Optiplexes that they just get better. For like
Yeah.
less now, they're $100. The ones that are on our little like studio supply list, like 8 gigs now with a larger hard drive, faster. I was like, yes.
Yeah. They're great. Yeah, that's what I used at scale a couple years ago. I just upgraded that same one. So I put a low profile 750 Ti in it.
She should have got out that wire cut. Don't use a Dremel. That'd be too fancy. Just tin cutters.
Why is it that every time I try to turn on my PC, it cuts me? Shh.
Yeah.
That's how it takes its toll.
Welcome to computer cases up until recently.
Nori's case still got a chunk out of my thumb.
Dude, they used to just be straight. They didn't care, man. I mean, burrs and
I know.
everything were in there. You know, exercised caution. Now we have these fancy cases.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Nori's case, it looks very nice, but the inside is very sharp aluminum. Very sharp.
I think I'm going to get a D450 for Jackbox to put that in. That was the cheapest, most reasonable one I could find that I would trust out after my dreams of putting it in a rack were crushed. It's like, then it wouldn't even be on the floor. It'd be great. No.
Corsair, right?
Yeah.
The 450D, yeah, they all, yeah, the
Yeah,
square
it's-
ones.
Yeah, it's me, dude. It's a baby version of the 750 that I have. I was like, I know that case.
Yeah.
That case work.
Yeah, no, this 270R, despite, you know, the front being sealed off and it only has air intakes coming out of the sides, it's a nice case. It's a very nice case.
You know what you need, Pedro?
Hmm.
Speed holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have the pedal that comes off and you can put speed holes. Yeah, I'd have to replace the entire front of the case.
Nah, I heard you have a Dremel.
I do have a Dremel. I do have a Dremel. It's mostly Nori who uses it for like our sculptures and things. But I do have a Dremel.
You can make a happy face, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard mode, do it while it's on.
Oh, spark.
Fans on max.
Sparks.
All right. Let me get something to drink.
It's all intakes.
It's all
In
intakes.
the front, in the back, it's all intakes. All the fans are creating
So you
positive
got everything
pressure
coming up.
coming up the top.
Out of
Yeah.
the top hole. See, this one doesn't necessarily get. Well, I need something with a top exhaust because I got the 212 adapter like you did,
Yeah.
and it either points up or
It
down.
faces up.
Right. And this was the case that Well, yeah, it's the same computer, really. And just slid it over. But yeah, it runs fine for the show or anything, but it's blowing like the only exhaust is the power supply, like sucking it out from the top. That's how old this case is. Power supply is on the top. So that's the thing. Different.
Yeah, no. This 270R, it came secondhand, so it didn't have the dust filter for the top.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine because the top has 3 120 millimeter fans just blowing air out. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, I just have 2 140s in the front, and I have 140 in the back, which is just machine aligned with the output of the Noctua 140. So I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that one has 120 in the back, and 3 of those Noctuas I posted early in the front, all bringing air in, and come straight out of the top.
Are they brown Noctuas?
Oh yeah.
All right.
They're beige and brown, but the case is all like there's no acrylic or tempered glass anywhere. It's all just either aluminum or plastic there.
That's good. Tempered glass, man. I ran into that when I was looking for like some cheapo cases, and it's like, oh man, even the $50 or $60 ones are tempered. I don't want glass anywhere near my feet. Period. Ever.
They usually have it on like the left side if you're facing the front of the case, so if you put it to your left, it's always facing away from you and you can't kick it.
Can you imagine? Like, I mean, you forget about it because I own steel-toed shoes. Or if you have your cowboy boots on or you left your heels on.
Well, I barely felt that.
No, you'll realize it right after. It's like, yeah, that was an artery thud.
Aww.
All right, let's get some drink. We'll do a show in a minute.
Yeah, no, actually, that's one of the things I was not very comfortable with that cases switched around was having the power supply at the top with the intake fan, sucking the air in from the case and out through the back. It's like, okay, that makes sense because the hot air rises and that fan does its job and gets it away from it. So then they started putting the power supplies at the bottom. It's like, what the hell?
And that's been an annoyance for me too, because on the high-end systems you want them at the top because the air rises. It just makes sense, I hate the trend of the bottom ones. So, but I have some that I have bottom too. It's just you can't put them on carpet unless you have them on a platform or something.
Yeah.
Or they'll burn out.
Yep.
So yeah, my new case has like I was telling you, Pedro, has the side profile. But what's interesting is it's got a small plexiglass window, but it's on the right-hand side of it, so I won't even see it because I'm going to position it on the right, which is unique because most of mine have been on the left.
Yeah, they usually are on the left because they have the the motherboard mounting bracket on the right side if you're looking at the front of the case. So yeah.
Well, what was kind of neat about this case is that it's got the 2 compartments. It's got a separate compartment for the power supply and hard drives, so that's why they ended up putting it on the right. But it was really nice to organize cables in there, that's for sure. So I like that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I noticed when I switched from the old Zolman case to this Corsair. It's like, oh, look at all the cable routing options and channels and places where you can slip a zip tie into. It's like, oh, sorry, tweezers.
Very nice.
For anyone who watched that Verge video.
Yeah. I haven't watched it all the way through, but I heard people talking about it.
Get some tweezers.
Yeah.
Zip ties. What the hell? Yeah, no, Corsair makes good cases, as it turns out. Even this one's like the cheapo variant. It's very nice with like all of the channels for the wires to go around. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this trend. The cases are a bit wider, but I like that. I like having that.
And you can have like the hard drives and the SSDs on the back.
Yeah, so you don't have to see them or make them pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, this one has like 4 bays at the back that you can mount either a 3.5-inch or a 2.5-inch
Yeah.
drive to,
That's-
and they're
yeah.
all full.
Cool.
Oh, Nemo, you should watch that video. If you've ever built a PC in your life,
Yeah,
find it. It's on YouTube. They pulled it down eventually, but everyone else re-uploaded it, so yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy over that video.
Are we talking about the Verge video?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oof.
There were several, Nemo. There was just the one.
What's that?
The stuff that you do exactly as he told you to do, it would damage your PC. Like screwing in the wrong screws to the radiator on the AIO cooler, using a Swiss Army knife with the built-in Phillips head.
This is one of the reasons
No.
I'm hesitant of doing any build videos.
Oh, someone's gonna call you out on it.
Oh, I'm going to like find the maximum amount of wrongness I can get away with and it still work. Because that's the ratio I want
Someone
to do.
did that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it's
I
got
think
to
it
still
was-
work 100%.
Yeah, no, I think it was Jay's 2 cents.
Oh,
That he did like building a PC the wrong way, and he did everything that was wrong. It's like putting the motherboard on the outside of the anti-static
Yeah.
bag, and
Oh, no,
wearing
no.
socks.
I'm talking about using a sword for a screwdriver.
Oh,
Oh.
You're talking about some peasant stuff.
it's like all the teeny tiny little things that people say. Oh, don't do this while you're building a PC, like being barefoot or being wearing
Yeah.
socks in carpet. And he
I'm
was
going to do the
doing this, like,
unboxing with a
"Still works."
chainsaw.
There you go. Arthur and found one.
Yeah. Everyone builds differently. As long as the end result is...
A working system.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how it looks, as long as it doesn't overheat. And
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the leading causes of like non-functioning computers are people cranking on their connectors, trying to shove them behind things and line them up, and like, oh no.
Cable routing makes it look nice, but function over form any day.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: the whole cable routing thing was. I know we're going to do a show eventually. Bear with me. That was with IDEs when we had flat cables that impeded
Yes.
airflow. Guess what? Cables are round now.
Yeah.
That
That's a problem.
that, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't impede airflow. Air can get around that real easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could create a wall with those P80A cables.
Literally, and like just deflect the
Yeah.
entire airflow in a different direction. I mean, your SATA cables, they don't block air.
Yeah. Nope.
Right, give me 2 seconds. I'll go get a drink.
All right.
Okay.
But I get it. And it's like, I want it to look pretty. And it's like, hey, man, I dig that. Right on. Okay. None of the cables are visible in this build simply because it was the first case I ever had that had the thing that, that space in the back, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
look, grommets. Oh, show up. Very, very lazily did it, too. It's, it's did. Floppy cables. Yeah. Oh, man. Floppy cable. What do they do now for floppy? Are they just all USB?
For what?
Part
Yeah,
of me,
you can get USB
Well,
floppies.
I know you can get them. I was like, part of me
Yeah.
wants to believe somebody made an ATA floppy drive. I know they didn't, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you have these cables that can turn a laptop CD or DVD drive into a USB thing,
Yeah.
chances are they made floppy drives that are compatible with these.
What about fiber channel?
Oh, yeah. That was insane. I have quite a few systems in here with fiber channel drives. The thickest cables on the market.
I don't think I ever used one of those.
It's basically SFP cards, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's pull that down.
I do have a USB DVD drive somewhere.
I have the only USB. No, the only DVD drive I could find is in one of my Ultra 5s.
Found it.
Ah,
Yeah, I ordered a bunch of those for school, and they're only $5 each now.
I believe that. Yeah. See, when that comes out, you
That's
know
a pretty one,
you
Pedro.
genuinely mess something up.
Yeah. If the USBs
Right.
aren't working anymore, it's like, okay.
You don't have that out to play around with something. You're like, all right.
I usually use it when someone like gives me a DVD or a CD. It's like, okay, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Imaged. Okay, you can take it now.
Okay. When I tap the record button, I want to get both of you to give me a sync clap. Because I
Okay.
am still dialing that in and I need testing and production.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm close. I don't have it.
Mm.
We're down to tens of milliseconds.
Okay.
No, I don't trust it enough to do that yet. Hang on one moment. Internal conversation we were having there.
Okay.
What are you recording off of on that? There we go. That's line 4. Okay. It's Audacity, man. It spawns port audio within 3, 4, and 5. It just spins a wheel, man. So I'm like trying to figure out what's left and what's right. There we go. Left and right. Yay. All right, it's thing. That's recording. Multi-track recording. Multi-track with automation.
Which reduces latency.
Yeah, I know, right? This would have been the time to have the drop cam. That I genuinely stood up and walked out of here. It's just like, okay, you win. All right. Looks good. Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, no whammies. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and talk about other fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. Just, things we find interesting. I am Vin Stone, joined every week. Hollywood Jill in LA. What's going on, man? And
Hi.
no longer in Space Portugal. It's been a long time, but I felt like saying that because it's been a minute. I haven't said Space Portugal. Still love you, Space Portugal, but in Britannia. That
Almost
is
2 years.
Almost 2 years, man. It seems like yesterday. One Pedro
Wow.
Mateus and everyone watching this live. How's it going? A bunch of exciting stuff to talk about this
Oh,
week.
yeah. Yes.
What you been up to, Joe?
Oh boy. So I had a great time again on Big Daddy Linux Live last Saturday. Went to Community Hack Night at Riot Games on Monday and heard a lot of really nice talks and about some neat projects. And we are making plans again for another Linux Gamecast party soon. Yay!
That sounds
So
truly
that'll be
horrifying,
fun.
like a bad idea, but okay.
Yeah. It's been a while since we had one because part of the reason is, all of us are working and doing stuff, so it's been hard to coordinate. But we're gonna get it together and have a big summer Linux Gamecast party.
What's up in Hobbitland?
I don't think any of us are in New Zealand. Over here, well, I mentioned last week that I was forced to give my work XPS 13 to someone in Birmingham, and my boss was kind enough to bring me another computer from Birmingham to replace that XPS.
I talked
is
about
awesome.
this earlier. I just imagine Pedro as being like a tsunami of pout for like the last 2 weeks.
Oh,
I guess I conveyed just how unhappy and in disagreement I was with that particular idea. So, person breaks laptop and gets a new one? Nah. But hey, if it means getting a precision 7510 with Xeon, a 1535 quad core 8 thread for now. I'm going to have to
Yay.
disable hyperthreading at some point. And a NVIDIA Quadro M2000M. It's with 32 gigs of RAM, DDR4 RAM. Yeah, no, it's nice. That's a nice laptop. I like it.
That's a great laptop. I can't wait to have to put Windows 10 on it and play solitaire.
Probably going to be in about 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Over here, I've been playing around a lot with Odor and making it obey me, putting it into multi-track with automation recording. It's kind of a boring stuff, and you're like, tell me how to do that with podcasting, which I will do. Also made a video for the public. I made it like last week. I put it up for Patreons. Not really a guide, but if you've ever been curious, like, how do you stick together a show? Which, fair warning, I am still very much learning DaVinci, but I was up to the point, I was like, this is how we make a show. So if you are curious about that, you can see it on linuxgamecast.com and grab all that fun stuff. But how about we get right into it with Mozilla? They've done a thing, and I think everyone's generally okay with it. You know, there was no like, oh my God, this is a bad thing. It's just terrible. No, it's generally good, man. They're going to be launching some paid services, which I think is, you know, a premium thing and definitely a good thing because as the old adage goes, you know, if you don't pay for it, you are the product 100%. And, you know, fortunately, you know, open source projects like Mozilla have gotten around this with donations and, you know, sponsors and search engine money from the Googles and all that. But I mean, they're looking at maybe a possible premium VPN, which would be good. And Pedro, you said something about pockets.
Yeah, well, the Pocket is something that Mozilla got a hold of a while back, and that's like the first thing I disable. And if that's one of the features currently in Firefox that ends up being paid for, that's okay. Again, that's the first thing I disable with every new install. And yeah, if all the premium features are like extraneous and superfluous stuff that's coming in, like new stuff, I don't see the problem, honestly. Basically, anything that will help Firefox develop without compromising on what's already there, I'm good with. I'm totally down for it.
I totally agree, Pedro. And, you know, we actually talked about this last October, Mozilla offering the Proton VPN service for a $10 a month subscription. Maybe Mozilla realizes more services need to be included in the Firefox premium browser other than just Proton VPN at $10 a month when a cheaper VPN service is available. So maybe they realize, oh, we should put more in that subscription or for the premium browser. And it also makes sense that the free version of Firefox will offer a limited VPN service like that of Opera and of course the Tor browser because there are browsers that do. So that makes sense totally.
It's interesting. It's going to be kind of tricky. Because we definitely haven't, you know, you can't charge for a browser. Not since like 1996 or 1997, you used to have to pay for browsers, kids.
Yeah.
I wish them the best of luck. I'd really like to see I'd get them a check anyway for, you know, whatever they're going to do. You know, if it's $5-10 a month or a week or whatever, you know, that's fine. I want to help out the Mozilla project. But what I'd really like to see is like, maybe work on that jack audio support for that one person that's asking you really nicely right now on the internet. because
Because
output.
it's Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And, honestly, just like better WebRTC support in general. Like, don't spawn like 4 audio syncs.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
would be
seriously,
good.
those audio dispatchers have got to go.
Yeah.
Mm.
But keep up the excellent work. Excellent browser. We talked about this
Indeed.
a while back ago. An organization hated Linux so much they shot it into space, Joe.
Okay.
It's not this one. We removed that. It's coming later. Don't worry about
Yeah,
It's coming
I
later.
I just scrolled down. So
it. Don't worry. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Right now, we have a big organization actually getting together with another big organization, namely Team Green. NVIDIA is getting together with the Big Blue, IBM themselves, and they're going to make that new, it's not new, that Linux distro that they bought to basically help get the NVIDIA drivers up to snuff when it comes to Red Hat. And it's the full RGB. It's IBM Blue, NVIDIA Green, and the Red Hat for Red. The two big ones from this is that Red Hat is simplifying the driver installation and also offering more options to the users. If you want something that's stable, you can do stable and stay there. If you want, you can track the latest releases, or you can track a specific branch like the development branch that has the new Vulkan stuff. Or you can track the mainline branch, the short-lived branch, so you can stay up to date with the mainline features. You can do all of that much more easily now than you could in the past. And they're also lessening the DKMS dependency, which basically what they're doing is going back to the old way of shipping the precompiled kernel mods with each kernel version. But if you are deploying your own custom kernel and you want to have the ability to use DKMS to automate building the kernel module whenever there's a new version out of that custom kernel, you can do that. You can still do that. So it's good. This is good.
yeah, really good. My first thought when reading this article is that making NVIDIA driver deployment this easy in Rail is a really, really smart choice. And bringing it back again, like Pedro was saying, especially when installing the NVIDIA drivers on their competitor's OS Ubuntu is so easy.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that they streamline that process, most definitely.
I don't know. I will take one small issue: the competitor's OS. I don't see like RHEL or Cent competing with Ubuntu in the same. Maybe
mostly
SUSE.
because RHEL or Cent are already winning.
Yeah.
That could definitely be a thing.
But-
And, it's good to see. I can understand why it took a minute to do it because, when you typically think of like deploying Cent or RHEL or anything like that, it's going to be headless anyway. So, you're going
That's
to have
true,
a
yeah.
management system to do that. But getting that together where it's not so difficult, and, even Fedora works with Bumblebee, right?
It does, because that's what I'm currently running on that Precision. It's like, Optimus works with Bumblebee, and it was just you install Bumblebee from the Fedora repo. There, done.
Pretty neat. Zorin OS, man. It's been making a lot of buzz.
Indeed, and if you've paid attention to Twitter over the past week, you've seen a lot of Zorin OS. And this is version 15, and that's why it's been in the news. It's a new version, it's out, you can go get it. It's got a couple of new features. It's got Zorin Connect, which is based on GS Connect, which in turn is based on KDE Connect. It performs faster. They say that since they're based on the GNOME Shell 330 and the kernel 418, performance optimizations were actually big features of those two releases, so that's good. They have a new desktop theme and a bunch more stuff. And I'm looking at it, it's like, see that layout that they have right there in the video. It's like, that's very reminiscent of Windows. It's almost as if Zorin came in and ate Mint's lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, they did a separate Windows look like desktop and Mac OS look like desktop, to make it easier for the average computer user coming to Linux, which is really great. And, I've always been very impressed with the look and feel of Zorin OS. And the light version for older computers has one of the most visually appealing implementations of the XFC desktop. It's one of the prettiest ones. So everyone out there who complains about XFCE looking a little boring, try it on Zorin. It looks nice. And and now the NVIDIA drivers are available via the ISO. And this release, of course, of Zorin is based on Ubuntu 18.04.2 LTS. So very stable.
I think it looks neat. Zorin Connect, 100% with that, because that's going to be syncing your desktop notifications, SMS, shared files, and media playback. That's out of the box. Good on them for that with the adaptive background. Night mode, that's out of the box. Also neat. And a to-do app. And it's like, I really don't see the point in that. But it's integrated with Google Task and Todoist. It's like, okay, you actually put some thought into this. And, shots fired. The future of Linux apps, Flatpak support baked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also a thing. What do you think about this, Pedro? I mean, it does ship with like a touch layout compatible setup. If you have like one of those yoga laptops, kids, make sure you got a yoga laptop before you like do the flipped eagle or whatever it is.
Don't flip the back unless but no, that's interesting because during in the article when they talk about the touch things, Strider keeps telling me that GNOME 3 isn't a touch inspired desktop environment. So the fact that they use the GNOME application grid drawer thingy is, in my opinion, completely incorrect because clearly GNOME 3 is not at all a touch focused UI.
No, 3 was designed to test batteries for laptops. Like,
to drain them as quickly as possible. Gotcha.
no. Okay, a couple of bits of KDE news. One with KDE Live, new version, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, so KDE Live 19.04.2 is out with lots of bug fixes and refinements. And there are fixes for compositing issues, grouping inconsistencies, and misbehaving guides and markers. And for me, one of the biggest fixes is sometimes KDE Live would crash when opening old project files. They fixed that. Yay! So in the timeline, not scrolling when the cursor has been fixed. That's always been an annoyance.
I gotta say, man, Candy. I'm on Windows. We're in the comments section. How should I update Kit? Don't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and as Ven said, KDE Live is a bit more polished after the major refactoring that took place. So this wasn't a major release, but it was, clean things up a bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. It's the second minor release of 1904 with 77 bug fixes and usability. They're just polishing after that major refactoring, and it's a good piece of kit. It's very stable. 100%. I mean, I still use it for like doing our credits and stuff like that, and nothing but the best for them. So I'm really happy to see them rolling on. So Pedro, you're about to tear KDE apart.
Well, I am the one who uses it the most often.
Yes.
But it's only been 16 point releases since Plasma 5 came out.
What's Plasma? Let's say you're genuinely me, and I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so KDE is the K desktop environment.
Okay.
And Plasma is what they started calling KDE 5 specifically. It's because it's got a much more by default anyway, much more muted tone.
Did they have like a conference and committee to see what could be the most confusing thing to come up with in that one?
Have you used Linux recently?
No, I've never heard of it. Tell me more.
Because that's all distros. No, but this one is just for KDE itself. They have Plasma 5.16. It's out if you're running KDE Neon. Even the user version has this available right now, and that's actually what I've been testing it with. And I poked a little bit at it on the X240, the ThinkPad X240. because it's not in Solus yet. And I do have to point out that it did take them all those 16-point releases since they moved from KDE 4 to KDE 5 to reintroduce a teeny tiny little bit of functionality, which is completely superfluous, but it was functionality that was already there that they deliberately removed, and 16-point releases later they are reintroducing, which is the ability to go in and customize the theme for each and every individual aspect of the desktop, which was something that was really nice to have in KDE 4, mostly because most of the themes.
Okay, that was always like one of the things about KDE, man. You could make
it's been there since 3.
Yeah.
And they got rid of it with KDE 5, and people shouted at them, and rightly so. And they are finally reintroducing that. Now, they do say there's like new notifications. The notifications, they're all bundled together. So if one application gives you multiple notifications, you can go through and see exactly which ones those were, and they won't interfere and won't get mixed in with another application. The one thing I immediately noticed was as soon as I got the notifications like, you're now connected to the wireless, I saw a little like dwindling bar down the side. It's like, oh, it's a little timer bar like you have for Instagram. Okay. And they also have a bunch of new improvements for Discover and some of the other KDE specific stuff. KDE Connect still works just fine, so I'm good.
Oh man, well I think like Dak pointed out, you said a negative thing about KDE, and he got a little triggered.
Aww.
Jill.
Yeah. So again, like Pedro and Ben were just saying, I'm happy all this customization has just come back. That was one of my complaints with KDE, is they took a lot of that out. So now it's coming back again. And in this release, there are several refinements to Plasma Software Center Discover, which now has 2 distinct areas for downloading and installing software on the update page. And the completion bar when installing apps in Discover now works correctly and automatically removes the apps from the list and populates correctly. That was always a complaint.
Only took them how many releases since Discover was released?
Yes.
5? 6?
Yes. So that's awesome. I've always liked the look and feel of Discover, so fixing all these issues is just wonderful.
They need to integrate better with Flatpaks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Listen, man, I heard snaps to the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't hate.
Don't hate.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
Listen, man, I don't trust either of you with your peasant desktop environments. Let's talk about something professional. Let's talk about XFCE. Hey,
but
man,
this is about Spotify.
Dude, I'm going to listen, we're about to get a new version of XFCE, and it's going to be rough. I can feel it in my bones. So I'm going to be talking about the nice, happy, stable version and a plugin. If you like the music tunes in your ears, particularly Spotify, there's a new plugin that has been hacked together that will give you integration with the panel. And it is definitely neat. Admittedly, it's a little bit involved, but this is Linux. Let's rock and roll. You're already on XFCE, so we know you're a clever one because it requires creating a developer account. But, all right, you should be able to get your way around that. And again, with that neat factor, because it will show the current song in the taskbar, which is like, look at that. So you don't need much for it. I mean, just the plugin JQ, which, sudo apt and JQ or DNF install, curl and XFCE for Mint. There's something, I don't know, I heard Mint died, but I don't believe them. But yeah, you do need that access token from Spotify. Easy enough to do. And I think this is kind of neat. This is not like, oh, this is amazing, best thing in the world. It's like, that could be handy. How many times have you been like, hey, which one's that? And you don't want to open up the app or anything like that. You just kind of want to glance. You kind of want to know, but you don't want to know enough to put effort into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice and minimal having it just sitting there in the tray, and I like that it has when you hover over the song title, a thumbnail of the album comes up. That's really a nice touch. And instead of having to go, it's in the bottom center instead of having to go to the right where the usual system tray notifications are, and Clementine does that, with their notification.
It's a panel plugin. You can put it wherever you want. But I
Yeah.
was going to say, it's like, I saw you put that in, and it's like, no, it doesn't. I built
Oh,
it. I put it
it
on
didn't.
XFC. It's like, it doesn't have that tool. Wait a second.
Because you're disabled.
I always disable the tooltips, regardless of desktop environment. I always disable the tooltips. I don't want that hover over crap showing up on screen. It's like, no.
I may or may not be completely against any and all notifications, period, because reasons,
Yeah.
man. I know
Aw.
I have to disable that. Like even okay, do you at least disable the ones like you are now connected to the internet? And I was like, I know,
Yeah.
you go away.
Yeah.
It's like, never show this again.
Mhm.
Never show this again.
Right. Or DNF or anything like that. Drucker was like, hey, updates
SE
are
Linux.
go away.
It's like, SE Linux, just
dude,
shut up, go away.
hey, that was my new record when I put Fedora 30 on. 2 full days. 2 full
2
days.
hours. 2 hours.
I was going to
Yeah.
fight it out, though. I went to war. I walked in knowing what I was like. All right, we're going to make this. No, we're not going to make this work. This is nope. You're still not ready. All this time later. Hey, animation.
Yeah. So we talked
Indeed.
about one of our favorite video editors, Kden Live, that has been updated, and now this is actually one of my favorite 2D animation software piece of software, and this is Pencil 2D version 0.6.4 has just been released, and it is a simple to use animation program and great for learning hand-drawn animation. It also lets you layer images and animations and draw using a vector layer
That
or a
could have got a lot
raster layer.
darker.
Okay.
Oh, Saitama.
Ah,
Season
oh
2
yes.
Netflix. Come on.
Oh, okay. True that. So yeah, this program is unique in animation because it offers you both vector and raster animation, and it is extremely lightweight and comes in at just over 38 megs for the app image. And it's a really good 2D animation program to learn before you use the more advanced Synfig Studio 2D animation software or even Blender's Grease Pencil. So this is a really good one to start with. And this is actually one I recommend my beginning students who are learning hand-drawn animation to use. We've used it in my class. It's awesome.
So how exactly does that work out? Because I got a friend that's an art professor, and he loses 90% of his class at the beginning when he's like, we're making our own canvases. I'm like, no.
Oh.
So does that happen in animation? Like, you're going to learn to draw by hand with a pencil and a pad. And they're like, nope.
Nope. No, yeah. Oh boy, I even teach my students flip books. I mean, the beginning
that's
students.
definitely got to be
you
like
know.
one of the things, though, because
Yeah.
there's going to be
Yeah.
generations that have come in and they're like, what are you doing with rubbing graphite on
Yeah.
a dead tree? What are you, a savage?
Yes.
What are you, a caveman?
I think, it's definitely, I just wanted to give it a mention, man, because, sometimes
Yeah.
I art myself, and this looks, like you said, easy enough to get into and play around
Yes.
with. They want to make the mention that just in the future, releases ending with even numbers will be bug fixes, which is always a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes.
Now,
This is a very good thing, especially if you're living with someone who likes to draw a lot. And every now and then she mentions like, I would like to start doing some animation. Do you know any
Yeah.
software for? It's like, now I do. Now
Yeah.
I actually do.
you can do that, man. Get crazy with the cheese whiz. Like, get into it. Do things I do sometimes. Just like, hey, look, I'm going to learn to do the thing. Come back like a week later. It's like, so what do you need to know about it?
Hello, young grasshopper.
Oh, right?
Yes.
You got to be careful going down those rabbit holes, man. Okay, let's pretend that I didn't say this earlier because we made a last minute change to the show notes that
Yes.
only made it about halfway through my workflow. Jill, the Linux
Yes.
server is coming home from space. It's Vega, and we're all
Yay.
doomed.
Yeah, this is our Linux supercomputer returns to Earth. So the HP Enterprises Spaceborne supercomputer, which was launched October 14th, 2017 on SpaceX's CRS-12 mission to the ISS, returns to Earth after 615 days on the ISS. It made its safe return on the SpaceX Dragon this week. Yay! So, and they wanted this computer there because they wanted to test how a commercially available computer would handle the rigors of space, and it worked beautifully despite a few hiccups. having a supercomputer in space would also be a great for long journeys into space, such as to Mars, and for scientific experiments. And we actually talked about this last November when 9 of the 20 SSDs failed, probably due to cosmic rays. And I'm not surprised that I buy this, because pizza box servers for the win. And they can withstand the perils of spaceflight. They can withstand almost everything else. So this didn't surprise me a bit. But there were only a few hiccups with this deployment, and one was one of the astronauts. So you want to talk about it, Pedro?
Don't gloss over those particular hiccups, because one of the people up there turned it off. It's like, oh crap!
Yes.
What do I do now?
Yeah. But when they turned it back on, it was fine. Again, Linux for the win. So
Linux has truly progressed. It can be rebooted.
Yes. You hear that, Jordan? You hear that?
That's really cool. That came back one piece. Everything works. Maybe they learned something. Just quit treating Linux like Matt Damon. Okay.
Yeah.
Hasn't done anything wrong. Keep it on. Yeah. It's brilliant. So
if a supercomputer can go into space, survive the journey up there, and then survive the journey back down,
yeah, pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It is neat. One thing before we get out of here, this is the opinion piece, maybe a way to put it.
This is the ramblings of someone who needed something to write desperately, and they had like, oh, wait a second, Facebook is evil. So let's say they're a threat to open source. They're the main threat to open source.
Wait, hang on. Facebook is evil. Let's see. What do our readers not like? Microsoft. Okay, we got part Okay, we need to put part 3 in. Open source. There we go.
Yep. And Facebook, according to this Linux Journal article, is the main threat to open source. And basically the author goes on to describe that because Facebook has been releasing a bunch of different apps, and they've been sort of creating their own ecosystem for Android, and the argument seems to revolve around the fact that Android is based on Linux and therefore should be considered a bed for open source
Pedro,
things.
I got bad news, bro.
Yeah?
Fuchsia.
Yeah, there's that. Google is working on that.
I mean, I'm not saying like this time next year Android's going to be a second-class citizen, but
it Fuchsia will be a thing, yes, but Android has a big adoption out there, and people aren't too keen on updating their phones, as I know. Hi, Nathan. Still using the old phone, I see. So basically the argument seems to stem like, oh, in comparison, WeChat in China has been doing that same sort of creating their own environment in people's mobile devices and keeping them locked into that, and then people don't use open source or free software on their phones, their phones that are using Android, which, yes, it is running the Linux kernel, but there's enough Google not open source stuff in there that makes that entire argument moot. But the biggest
have you ever decompiled an APK, man?
Yeah.
It might as well be open source, even if they turn it off. This is kind of a joke. Listen, man, to put a bow on it, I get the point, man. I mean, the whole is like, let's make our own Mastodon version of Facebook, which will work. Open source, I think at the end of the day, it's a tech, the whole principle behind it, the idea behind it, you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. And that's the trade-off with the GPL or BSD style licenses. You don't get to, it's like, come here, put your finger in my morality detector before you can use this code. That's not how it works. It's never going to work like that, and it's better for it. And neither Facebook or Microsoft pose any threat to open source. I mean, there's no, I know you want to put like, hey, look, Boogeyman, but yeah, Microsoft is turning into a services country, and Facebook is going to get legislated out of existence. It just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
Joe.
Well, they're trying to listen to. Facebook is trying to listen to the future of a decentralized internet, and would like to emulate what the WeChat app is doing in China, with a bunch of the small little apps contained in one big app. So, that definitely is a thing, and it would be a Facebook OS essentially at that point. If it survives.
And how do you go from okay, so Facebook is creating their own environment, their own OS, as it were. How exactly is that a threat to open source? Is it a bigger threat than Windows was to open source?
Listen, man, I needed to meet my word count for the end of the month.
This is a fluff piece.
It's something to read. Don't get upset about it. Okay, we need to get into a slice of pie. Before that, we want to thank each and every one of you who are making this show possible, because unfortunately, we can't do this absolutely for free. We got to pay those server bills. Actually, bandwidth bills. Those are fun. But we do have a gang of people, and we call them Patreons.
Yay.
Yes.
We love you.
It is brilliant. We have 117 of these awesome, fantastic human beings hanging out in chat with us right now, making not just this, but our big show on Saturday. We got streams on Tuesdays, streams on Thursdays, streams on Friday, and plans to do more. If you do kick us a few shekels, we're like, hey, man, can you spare 4 quarters a week? You get early access to our Uncut series. I had to re-edit that. That's why it took so long. Didn't cut out content, but I had to fix the time sync. If you like our nonsense, there's an extra hour of content, audio version, for your custom RSS feed, where you can listen to everything that's going on behind the scenes. We try to keep all that nice and interesting. Occasional, all right, let's be real. There's a lot of movie reviews, a lot of TV show reviews. Yeah, this definitely happens. We do have all this stuff that you've helped us make. We got Wish Zones. Pedro's got one. If you're like, hey, buy this thing. Jordan has one. I have one for the studio. It's incredibly boring. A multitude of ways that you can help us do this. And if you're like, man, whatever, I just watch you. Support those who support Linux. Forget us. Go help somebody else, because this is a community. This is a team project. And it's the only way we're going to get through it. So thanks.
And we also have new Lwdw merch, which I am wearing right now.
Oh, come on, Jill. That's like 2 weeks old.
That's
That's
bootleg,
hey,
man.
but it came last Wednesday after the show, so now I'm wearing it.
This is true. We're horrible at marketing. We do have the store, which is at linuxgamecast.com, and go check that out. We got Frig shirts. We got LG. We have our faces on shirts. This is the only shirt I do not and will not own out of our collection. And we have the Lwdw Classic, which needs glitter, Jill. It needs bedazzling. I'm disappointed.
Okay.
There's plenty of open space there to add things.
Yeah.
Like, ironically, just let Steve loose on it. It could be truly horrifying with enough attention. That is brilliant. Thanks for letting us do this. Stick around, your names are in the credits and all that. We try to say some of them. It is kind of fun. All right, now, back to the show and back to the fun with the slice of pie.
Teeny tiny tangential slice of pie this week.
No, this is a big honking chunky slice of pie. This has got like 3 extra P's in it, man, because...
Oh, you mean thick, as in the 2 C's. Okay.
3 C's. 3 C's, man.
3, okay.
I have invented new thickness technology.
This is bigger than the pie.
You know what? It's a damn tablet. A damn Linux tablet. Suck at YouTube. You're going to demonetize everything we do anyway, so... This has been like a unicorn glued to some jelly toast. This is something we've all wanted, and no one's bothered to get around to actually making it. So the author here, it's like, you know what? I'm going to make my own, and it's got blackjack, right? So this is going to be rolling a Jetson Nano, the 64-bit ARM CPU, and it's 128 core and all that, with the NVIDIA GPU, 4 gigs of memory RAM, and smashed everything down into, well, this is the current plan right now, tablet form factor. Now, we're not talking ultra thin or pager. We're talking like DS9 tablet, right?
Yeah, we're talking about like half an inch thick. Accounting for like the back plate.
But this isn't just taking everything apart and like flattening it out in hot glue. I mean, dude's making his own breakout boards. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a Jetson Nano with everything desoldered off it.
Mm.
This is a good idea. And he kind of walks through some of the issues. He's like, oh, wait a minute. That's display port's got to be wired up like that. It's backwards. But progress is being made.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Look at it. I mean, it looks industrial, but I'd carry that around.
Yeah, no, I'm completely unopposed to an idea of like a thicker tablet. And the base concept, even for like the hardware that he picked, it's like that's solid. Something which can browse the web, play videos, and run some apps at the same time,
Yeah.
all while providing a smooth experience. And if we've learned anything from past attempts at that particular dream, is that it's a bit of a unicorn to nail down. So, no, seriously, do it. Create something out of this that people
Please.
can actually make or buy already made. We need this.
Yeah.
This is great.
We definitely need something successful in this area. You know, I've always wanted a modular portable device, and there have been several cell phone projects that have never came to fruition, such as the Fairphone 2 developed by Fairphone, which was the first modular cell phone. And it would be actually, I think I would like this better as a tablet than a cell phone, just because, you know, a tablet is a consumption device you often use at home. And even though it's thicker, but that's okay when you're at home using it. So
And if you're laying
that
down in
makes
bed,
sense.
it's already resting on your chest.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
yeah, it's just a little thicker and heavier, no biggie.
I like the idea. And yeah, maybe it depends on what the Jetson power usage is. I don't think it's
Yeah.
astronomical, but here's the thing. I mean, if you're going to build something extra thick, you can put a big battery in it too. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Have you ever
there's
cracked
going to be a
open an
lot of free
iPad?
room
It's
there.
99% battery, man. There's like one little
Yeah.
compute board in it. So I'm down with that. And I don't understand. I guess maybe it's just the market because there's a bunch of things. I remember when like the Surface Book or the tablets, it's like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, we've locked this thing down. I'm like, boo. Microsoft,
There's a lot of those.
I would have swallowed
Yeah.
my pride and bought one to have
Yeah.
like an XA, you know, with like battery life that's usable. You know, at least let me pretend for like an hour and a half.
A day. Did you know, like the unicorn of the 16 hours of active use of battery life? That's what people want in a tablet. And, you know, this is based on the Jetson Nano. That Shield tablet that I have has been going on for way past its recall date, because it was recalled. But it is a genuinely good performing tablet, and the battery goes on for, like, active use, goes on for like 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty
It's
good.
nice. Yeah,
For a
it's really good.
1920 by 1200 screen, 8-inch form factor, it is very thin. But that's a really nice tablet, and they're not making any more because now they call it the Nintendo Switch.
Well, I also think one of the things that would require a lot of attention is we all want this right up until the point till we actually use it, because unless you have a touch interface that is touch from beginning to end, it is a miserable experience. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like even something that was designed to be, you know, touch compatible, like Windows 10 and tablet mode,
Mhm.
is horrifying because I have a Windows
yeah.
10 tablet. And it's like, I've gotten so frustrated. It's back in I mean, it would have been anyway, but I mean, genuinely angry at the device. It's like, I don't know how to say, no, go away.
Mhm.
It's like trying to use GNOME 3.
Well, there's the KDE Plasma, the KDE Plasma Touch, or honestly can't remember what they call
You know
it.
what I don't aim for, what I'm like, I don't like that. I don't go for, I use it with just like light. I'm not going for that. Just like give me the old and boring. Hey, maybe you know about a tablet we should be playing with, or something we should know about, or maybe we got something wrong, maybe we got something right. Who knows? Or maybe just like, hey man, what type of things do you like? Or a question, a thought, a hint, or an allegation. Pedro.
Absolutely. Hints, thoughts, allegations, or things better left unsaid.
I like to think
That's-
that you just said pinch thoughts. And I was like, ooh, pinches. Email pinches too.
Well, you can absolutely email us a pinch if you so feel inclined. Just make sure to go to lacegamecast.com, you hit the contact button, and pick LWDW from the little show box. The rest of it is just your typical things. If you are behind a VPN, as most people are nowadays, let's be honest, Google may ask, so are you human? And it may ask you that repeatedly. So yeah, just bear with it. It'll eventually get through. As long as you give us, a legit email address, because if it doesn't resolve, then we don't see your things.
Our spam column's pretty brutal. I mean, I check it once a week to make sure nobody got trapped in the machine. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. That thing is very frighteningly efficient. And
Yeah.
And what do we have? Oh man, Friezo. Hey buddy.
Friezo.
Yeah.
That's why you showed up. You're like, what if they're going to read the thing? I better show up live just in case. Here you go.
Good, Frezzo.
Your reward. Pedro?
Okay, so
Every-
Frezzo is like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here, Frezzo sent us a really nice comment. Every article I read about the wasp prior to the show, granted this was only 2 or 3 ones, have
We're talking
all
about
mentioned
wasps. We're talking about
from
insects.
last week.
Last week.
Yeah,
What was that
no.
about?
The new malware.
the
hidden
new
wasp.
malware called Hidden Wasp.
Muawa?
Malware. Okay, so to the show, granted this was only 2 or 3 ones, have all mentioned that it is likely a stage 2 secondary payload, etc. thing. E.g., Phosbites says, however, security researchers still don't know the actual infection vector. They suspect that the malware was spread in systems already controlled by the hackers. So it could be said that Hidden Wasp is being used as a secondary payload. Your source-linked article that we used last week also says evidence shows in high probability that the malware is used in target attacks for victims who are already under the attacker's control. But yes, clickbaity headlines are horrible. Yes, Frezzo. That's why we kind of, didn't take that one too seriously. But it is something we have to pay attention to.
Out. I specifically said, most of these articles tend to gloss over the fact that it is a stage 2 or secondary payload type of thing. And you mentioned 3 articles. Well, you probably read the first 3 articles that came out, and then you said, oh, it's another one of those. Oh, it's another one of those. Yeah, the original articles, like the ZDNet one and the Phosbites one, they all mentioned that. And the article we had last week.
Dude, you went back and listened to it. You called it a clickbaity headline. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. I was like, okay.
Because it is.
I know.
You can't really, like I said last week, it's not fun to have a headline that's secondary stage payload malware is infecting Linux servers.
Oh my god, that sounds so weird. Where's this article, Pedro? I need to read it right now.
See, that doesn't drive clicks. No one cares about that because it's Linux. We know that once the system is compromised, you can actually wreak all kinds of havoc with it. But
yes,
what we want to know is what is that initial
How did it get there? I mean, listen.
How did it get compromised?
At the end of the day, right now, until we get some hard numbers and hard facts, I mean, you unless you're going to say your fanfic's better than my fanfic, because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can speculate all day. I'm curious as to what it is. That's that's my entire hot take on it. I'm like, I want to know what the vector is. I'm like, well, I can no, I want to know.
Yeah, because payloads, a stage 2 payload, that can be very damaging and it can do some horrible things. But the system's already compromised.
I mean, what the
So,
payload's
what's compromised it in the first place?
What started it?
That's what I'm saying, man. If your payload's a pipe wrench that you knocked out the security guard with to install it, I mean, anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for this episode of Weekly, Daily Wednesdays. We're going to bounce out of here. Thanks, everybody, for showing up live. If you can, after the fact, of course, most of you know it's an audio podcast, and that's where everyone is. Hey, since you're listening, we have a video version if you want to see that. I don't recommend it, but we're here anyway. It's fun. We're going to bounce out of here and roll some credits. How about that? Sound like a plan? Maybe?
Yay!
Sounds good.
Wow.
And
right.
you know,
Big show.
part of me is very glad that we chose to feature this comment from Frezzo and not the other
Yes.
That was a screechy Riri comment.
one. That was great.
Yeah.
I had
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of
The
fun
one on
reading that.
the one on YouTube. Yeah.
Immediately lose me if you score like 30% on grammar. I can't help you. Wait, let me rephrase that. If you do 30% on grammar and it's obvious that you're a native English speaker, you're just dumb.
And the interesting bit is he's calling us names because I don't know. I guess he played a part in making Hidden Wasp really famous.
Yeah.
I don't know why he'd be so angry about it.
YouTube comments, bro. YouTube
Yep.
comments.
Yeah, I liked your response, Pedro. That must have been you that responded
that
to
was
him. It was Ven. Okay.
Thank you for liking my response, Joe.
Hey, we appreciate all people who watch the show, whether they
Hey,
agree
I'm
with
just
us or
kinda
not.
hurt. I mean, it was well worded, clever, and diabolical. So, I mean, contributing that.
Oh, your comment, not the right. Okay.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah, your comment.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, chat room. We love you.
Before we get everything, Pedro, give me the clap, Pedro.
Yes.
One more. Your turn. Mm-hmm. All right. And one more time, Pedro. Thank you. And Joe. All right. Cool. I will stop the recording now.
Yeah, no, you started the show. It's like the clap. You
Yeah,
can see me
yeah.
going with my hands like
I know. I saw.
I know. It's like I remembered to do it at the end because I was like, "Oops, we forgot to do the clap thing. Better make a note to do it." Which I mean, then again, you're assuming that it's actually an issue, and I'm not doing this for my amusement.
clap, monkey, clap.
I mean, there's a 50-50 on that one, if we're being honest. Save project as.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chi. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Tessman. Thank you, Artheron. Pennywise.
Prezzo,
You're-
usually audio sync. Although this time around, well, Ven is trying to nail down the audio sync perfectly. So
What?
Frezzo is asking what the claps are for.
Joy, Friezo. Why do you hate joy? People can't clap without getting 30. Jeez.
Aww.
Never
How
do
you
that
do
again.
it quietly. I did it quietly.
It's a golf clap. Gee, I made a video all about it, my man. Genuinely, how that would answer that question. Was the cost worth it? Again, in the video.
Yeah, no, I love that comment. I really did.
You can't even get wound up about a lot of stuff when, like, within the first 10 words you go, oh no.
Yes.
It's retarded.
You go full re.
You don't get your point across if you come off as a screechy Riri.
It's last week's Linux Weekly Lily Wednesdays. It because I went there, it's like, oh, Ven's already replied to it. Okay, let's see what it's saying. Oh.
However, if that person would have shown me that they had so much angst. And if they'd done it through contact form, you would have been on the show.
Yep.
See, the problem with YouTube is you're already logged in and you're there and you're like,
Yeah.
enter. There's like, I'm typing, I'm really hard on these keys and you're going to feel, I'm like, oh, it's cute. Oh, bye. Okay. That's all right. They're there.
It's like we don't usually get hate mail for the nice show, the show in the middle of the week. But wow.
Yeah, that was, everyone go and rate it. It
Friso,
was
I'm not going
pretty
to tell you.
intense.
You're going to have to tune in next week to find out.
We got called bad names. So-
Those bad names, they hardly even qualify compared to what I get called at work.
Bad names. Whatever. If I could just get called bad names.
Yeah, usually when someone gives me a genuine compliment and says something nice about me, I look at them and it's like, are you feeling okay?
I mean, at the end of the day, if he's like, you're a big poo-poo head, and it's like, well, it's better than the Lightbringer or Destroyer of Worlds. I mean, it's a curved improvement. Yeah.
All because we said that Hidden Wasp
Yeah.
wasn't a big deal because it's stage 2. Yeah.
Have fun.
Oh.
See you, Sorceress.
Bye, Sorceress. Bye.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as Linda. Have a good day.
Oh, thanks for clarifying that. That would have confused Linda. She was like, oh, why are you calling me sorceress? Scam callers? No, that would require us to have a sudden uptick in like mobile phones that we answered.
Yeah. I never got one of those scam calls.
I never look
Yeah,
at my
Alan.
a mobile device more strangely than when it rings. What are you doing? And
Yeah, Ellen, I did. They're hitting our area pretty big with those right now.
It's like, how? Phone? What?
Landline. I know. Cell phone.
Again, it's not a cell phone. It's a pocket computer.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, 100%. I can, I never check that because no one calls me that I know.
Yeah.
Ever. Period.
Only my
Nori
hubby
texts.
is the only one. Yeah. And my hubby texts me more now. Or actually we use Discord. So,
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, if my phone rings, and I shouldn't even say my phone, if Google Voice sends the digital signal out through all my devices, I'm not paying any attention. Because it is 100% somebody I don't know. 100%.
There is one phone I do need to pick up. Where is it? There it is. Just
Dude, if they would call me and leave
work
voicemail, I would record. I would have fun. That'd be great. I'd record that. And I'm like,
yeah. That's like, I hope someone finds my work number and I can just, open up OBS and start recording. Because I have VMs running. So it's like, yeah, I can use one of these VMs. Come on, show it to me.
I mean, I'm just saying, dude, if I get a scam call because one of my favorite things to do would be like, oh, thank you for calling Papa John's. Hold on one moment.
that's a good one.
Okay, could you hold just 2 more seconds? So we'll be right back.
I just don't answer if it's a number that's not in my contacts. So
I don't
screw
have
it,
any
I don't
numbers in
answer
my
it.
contacts.
Loophole.
I don't know anyone's phone number. Who would I call? That would be like, oh, let's put a bunch of extra steps in between contacting them.
Well, I had started one years ago when I got married, so that's how that you kind of need a contact list. So that's what I used Google Contacts as my list for my wedding, and it worked. It works perfectly.
Well, I mean, you're from a certain time that we're not.
Yeah. Van. Bad Van.
Don't speak truth. That's not allowed. You were talking smack about being a different generation at the beginning of the show, so you can
Yeah,
just
you totally were.
do
Yeah.
it,
Just
Jill.
saying.
Oh, I just said I'm from Gen X. That's all I said. I'm one of the older ones.
Can't have both ways, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought I was Generation Y or Gen Y or whatever they called it. And it's now millennial. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, because you're 30.
Two?
Yeah, so it's 32. So I was going to say 31, but I remembered it's 2 now.
I am gonna be 33 this year.
Okay, I just turned 48. Stop complaining. No, I'm teasing you, Pedro. It's okay.
That's 2 3s next to each other in about a month too.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But you can sit back and let everyone know, Pedro. Your 30s are a lot like your 20s, but you make more money.
Yeah, that's what's.
That is
I
true,
loved
yes.
I love my 30s.
I don't know. See, the thing I'm running into right now in my advanced stage is I felt like I got like a mana booster for the 'cause, like everybody I know, and like, oh, well, you know, then your joints start hurting and you just can't sleep. It's like I avoided all that, and that shit just wore off. Like that potion, just like I was like, oh, this is what you were talking about. Oh, all right, this is bullshit.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. For me, it
Not
was
looking forward to that.
Yeah, when I turned 45, so that was when things started changing. But that's why I stay in shape and do all the things I can do.
As long as it gets to the point, I want to get to the point where I can sleep. That'll be neat.
Yeah, that is one nice thing about getting older. I find that I actually am sleeping more.
I'm sleeping less.
I didn't in my 30s. I slept very little. Well, I never was normal in that way anyways. I was actually born awake. I didn't sleep for like a day, and the doctors thought there was
Most
something
people
severely...
are not born asleep. I'm just going to throw that out there in the medical
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, but they...
That's a sleeping baby that they're not sleeping.
No,
It's
no,
like,
but they usually
so
fall
if we
asleep.
tap it here, okay.
You're like,
Yeah, but
okay,
they-
oof.
But they usually fall asleep after. I was up for 48 hours, so they thought there was something seriously wrong with
There
me.
probably was some. There probably something still is. It doesn't.
Look, Jill, you're on the internet
Yeah.
with the two of us.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So clearly something's not right.
I'm just saying, dude, in this house, you don't get a gold star for being a weirdo. I'm like, all right.
Nope.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Very
Welcome to the
true.
club. We
Like, I
had
mean,
cookies.
If
but
you want to be a
Jordan
weirdo
ate
on
them.
fire, maybe you get a gold star, but yeah.
Yes. I have
Oh,
problems
and if you are
too.
going to light yourself on fire, just make sure there's a camera recording. Okay.
When did I? This is, I easily think, what was a horribly irresponsible thing I was up to earlier this week? It was something. I was like, you might want to record this. It'll come to me in a minute. This is not a lack of memory. This is trying to whittle it down.
Oh, that's cute, Patrick. I like the walking cow guy.
It's a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh,
Listen,
that doesn't look like a cookie.
in Jillovision, that's a walking cow, all right?
The walking cow guy. All right. Sarah C. Anderson. That's the name of the person who draws those comics, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell her.
Yeah.
See, that's a walking cookie.
There's the cows. Okay. Oh, thank you.
The
Yeah,
utterly
cow.
walking cows.
Oh, poor cow. Oh.
Cowboy.
Oh, Ellen, I love that one. That's one of my. I've seen that one before. It's so cute. Thank you for posting that.
Don't overinflate your cows, kids.
So what are we doing tonight, Pedro? Hamburgers? Please say
Possibly?
hamburgers. Yeah.
Possibly hamburgers, possibly steak. I have a bunch of steaks.
Look at
So,
you.
can just-
Aren't we fancy?
Aw.
I got promoted a lot very quickly in these past few years.
Mr. Oh, yeah, we got a bunch of steaks just laying around.
I have pork and beef, so just a matter of picking. Going to have to let them sit at least for half an hour and marinate anyway, so hey.
I never get put on, like, this is with self-defense, and usually we do cookouts and stuff, and they're like, oh, you just pick up whatever. I'm like, oh, you want me to go? All right. It's not gonna end well. I intentionally will buy the most janky I can find, man. Like steaks, as they got steaks at the dollar store.
Oh,
No.
the see-through ones that you hold up to the light and you can see through them? Yeah, Poundland sells those.
Oh wow! I just buy like whatever the biggest thing is. I don't know.
Yeah, here they have like they're like thinner cuts than I prefer anyway. But they're like thin cut ranch steaks, beef ranch steaks.
Hmm.
Those are nice. Those are really nice. There's like 6 of them in like one of the packages. Yeah.
Most
I like
of
the
my
thin ones. They're usually really flavorful too. The thin ones.
You fillets.
Thin
A
steaks.
fillet of steak.
Yeah. It's pink in the middle and with a slight roast around the
Yeah, I
outside.
love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't participate in the destruction of animals.
You participate in the destruction of plants, though.
Yeah, no, it's because of Ven that the atmosphere is losing oxygen. Ven, stop eating plants.
Dude.
We need that oxygen.
I have an insatiable hatred for plants. I was born
Yeah,
with
stop hitting them.
it. Do them apart, man.
Oh. Ven doesn't have a green thumb, I guess.
I would like to see you grow something. That would be entertaining.
I have 2 plants in the house. That my outside looks horrible, but I have
mean, I'll
house
do my
plants.
natural peppers. If I'm not doing them hydro, I'll do them indoors as well.
Yeah, I had a cactus. It wilted.
And it, oh. No, actually, I wanna. Steve and I eventually want to have a small garden. I definitely want to have one because I do enjoy. I actually enjoy watering flowers and taking care of them.
I mean, I did not even a big garden. It was about an acre I tilled up in the backyard.
Nice.
Did corn and ended up with like more stuff than this is how people end
Then
up
you
like
can
this.
use.
That I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna have to buy one of those freezer chest things. Like, no, you're not. You're never gonna do this again. I'm like, noted.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, Vin, I remember you saying that you've done some canning, and I
Okay.
had with my grandmother. I
Oh,
used to
that's
do
what
that
I was
with her.
doing this week. I'm teaching myself how to make soap, right? So
Lots of glycerin.
no, we're starting with like the base alkali.
Oh, okay.
So a good source of alkali is ash.
Mhm.
So anything like that, I mean, variants and all that. You can burn yourself great soap. I mean, if you just ever need to like get a degreaser, you can take regular fire ash, mix that with just a little bit of water, do that, but make sure you get that off of your hands quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very high pH on those.
So we're gonna first start trying to. I'll work my way up to like building like the equivalent of medieval like white soap, then gray soap, Gray soap's what I'm going to be working on now.
That's cool. I've made soap. That's fun. I've made ice cream, soap. I've learned how to can, peas, and
Nemo, seriously?
cucumbers.
Seriously?
Well, The Verge messed up when they Streisand that video.
Yeah.
It's like the internet had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And that they started hitting people with the MCAs. It's like, no. Dude, big criticism. That's fair use.
The I was actually surprised. Like, people catch you off guard sometimes. Some like hella famous Twitch streamers just got like kicked off Twitch.
Oh yeah.
E3, like,
Oh,
filmed
yeah,
a
yeah,
bathroom.
Yeah.
Dr.
Disrespect.
Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the guy that wears the sunglasses.
Yep.
I'm not
With the
hating or
fake
throwing
mustache.
shades. That's generational thing. I'm like, I know he's a thing. It's just
Yeah. I saw him at TwitchCon. So, yeah, he did a show.
Yeah, he was doing live streams, and despite the people that were there were totally okay with it, and they were doing it for the gag, Twitch is like,
Yeah.
no.
you can't legally film in the bathroom in California because it's a nanny state made out of styrofoam to protect the citizens. But I think it was Eli the computer guy, which I normally check out.
Mm.
And he's like, I'm leaving YouTube. And I'm like, what's this all about? Because I can't keep with daily things. It's like maybe every 2 or 3 weeks I'll have like 30 or 40 minutes. Like, let's try to consume as much. And he got a community guideline strike because he did a reaction video over the Apple event. Like, here's $1,000 piece of aluminium.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking over that. And he was like, I don't understand. This was fair use. And I was like, what? And he was like, it was fair use because it was an Apple commercial and they didn't have a paywall up. I'm like, buddy, that's not how fair use works. You're supposed to know. How do you not understand fair use?
Yeah.
It's very simple. Did you make it? No, you can't use it. You might be able to. Yeah, I mean, you could be like, here's the thing. You can do commentary and stuff over it. 99% of the time, they're going to be cool with it. But you can get hit. Just know that, and you will lose.
And the music industry, like the record industry.
He didn't get hit with any of that.
Association
he
of
didn't get any
America.
copyright strikes. It was just Apple was like, don't make that available.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Apple.
Yeah.
Styrofoam disband again? Well, listen, man. I don't want anybody. Yes, let's keep saying that, Pennywise, and we can continue our styrofoam import ring. Our highly illicit.
Well, California was also the first to recycle styrofoam. We've been recycling styrofoam here for 20 years.
That sounds like something hippies would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
UMG is the worst. I don't know, man. All right, I think that I gotta export that. I have a very roundabout way of getting audio from Jackbox to. Well, it's not roundabout. It's just I have to.
Pennywise, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't make that much money that I could spend $1,000 on a monitor stand. Otherwise, I'd be happy to fund your penile adventures.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
Pennywise.
just wait a decade and you'll pick up one on eBay for $50.
Yeah. But the shipping will
Then
be
I
more than
might.
that.
$1,000 frickin' dollars for a monitor stand that doesn't even come with the vase amount. You want
I
the
know,
vase
yeah.
amount for that stand?
It's an extra.
That's an extra $200 for a vase amount.
Yeah.
You know
Apparently
that thing you
it's
can buy for
magnetic.
2 pounds? 2 pounds off Amazon.
Yeah.
That's a 1,000% markup.
No, this is Apple did it to themselves because they've been selling people pro laptops. That's not pro hardware, not by the foggiest stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
However, what they released now is, that's pro level stuff that you would see, in a studio. Same goes to that monitor stand. So that's the price you're going to be paying. Go look at a Red camera.
Yeah.
All right, and you're like, wait a minute, why does this cost 15,000? Because it does. That's why. And you're going to buy it because there's no other option. Same way with this audio, a bunch of stuff with interfaces I have to deal with. It's like, why is that $6,000? Like, what else are you going to do, bro?
That's the thing.
This is pro pricing. There's no thing. The second you try to apply anything that we've ever laid our hands on, even outside of like server enterprise hardware pricing. There's your analogy.
But it's not. It's not.
Doesn't
enterprise.
matter.
It's a monitor stand and a face amount.
Dude, it does the thing. If you're going to be spending $12,000 to $16,000 on the computer and the monitor, that's like 2% of the cost. You might as well throw in $1,000 stand, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, that's not the line item people are going to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
$1,000 first. But I mean, when you have a $14,000,
Yeah, when you're already paying $6,000 for
the
a
monitor.
5K screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Oh, you know
man.
this UHD monitor right here? Yeah, that was 150 pounds.
I mean, now, to the credit, that monitor doesn't have 53 zones in it. For local gaming. No.
It has 6?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ish. But
Mhm.
yeah, you can always build it yourself. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're buying the Apple, you're buying it. You know you're buying something that's overpriced, but if you need 1 billion of them and you need a warranty, same reason people buy. You see Dell Power Edges, man. You're using Optiplexes. You're like, yeah, all right, I could build that cheaper. All right, well, could you build me 10,000 cheaper by the end of the week?
Mm-hmm.
And give me a warranty on all those? Like, wow. Like, yeah, Dell, ring, boom, just dropped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as someone who has to order and collect the stuff from Dell at work for not just here, Leicester and Birmingham, it takes Dell over a month to deliver on laptops.
Now, imagine that same conversation without a government contract with a private.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Done.
Yeah, no, it's at least 4 weeks. Frickin' Dell, man.
Dude, it's NHS. It's like, what you're not going to cancel on us. I mean, we'll get around to it.
That's the thing. Half of the NHS is with Lenovo for the ThinkPads.
Just to
And
keep
then
things
there's-
interesting.
Yeah, there's like some that are still using HP laptops and we're using Dells. And it's like, okay, so there is competition and clearly Lenovo is winning. So what the hell, Dell? What the hell?
Didn't they do a buyback? And take Dell private again?
Oh, I don't know if it was Dell proper or was it HP?
Oh, no, it was Dell because I know Michael Dell came back to try to
Yeah, he did.
straighten it out.
I'm trying to remember what the end result of that was.
He did take it back private.
Oh, okay.
I think so because I remember it. Yeah.
I brought that up because I think he is now intending to redo an IPO for it.
Yeah.
Make it public again.
Money, yes.
Gotta have capital, baby. I
And
thought
it
you
is
were
Dell.
heading to... All right. Dell bought it back.
Of all the like OEM mainstream OEMs out there, Dell is what I'm totally okay with. It's like, oh, you do Linux, that's cool.
Yeah.
Asus, where are them Linux laptops?
Dell does
Never heard of
good,
it.
man. They're not great, but you know what? I've been working in IT for well over 13 years. There's always been a Dell. It's an enemy I know. You know, even to the point of like, hey, we're doing a studio. I need dedicated work. Get some Optiplexes. Yeah, I know they're gonna work. They'll probably outlive me. It'll be cockroaches, Keith Richards, and these 2 Optiplexes, man. After the
Yeah.
Those power supplies that they have, admittedly, they're only like 240 watts,
Yeah.
but those power
power,
supplies
yeah.
are stupidly well rated.
Yeah. They were really high actually.
Yeah.
You a video card, that GPU, like when I put that 750 Ti
75
in
watt
there.
GPU.
Yeah, yeah. So it's fine.
Good times, good times. All right, it's
Yeah,
best.
and even most of the precision desktops are only 400 or 430, but their power supplies are so good and efficient.
That's what
They
they need. They're
that's-
selling you that power
Yeah.
supply for that hardware configuration. That's what it needs. That's what
Yeah.
it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, they've gotten better about that because their older systems were not like some of the ones I have here. We're not quiet, and we're not. they
Yeah,
put over 1,000-watt power supplies. I have a 2,000-watt power supply in one of my
We have
My,
one
precisions.
3050 Optiplex at work.
Mm-hmm.
That one is nice. That one is really nice. You turn it on, it makes no sound whatsoever.
sound.
The
Yeah.
like for just regular work that people do on it, it works without an issue. You fire up one of the old 710s that we have piled on in the basement. It's like,
Noise. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got those Dustbuster fans, man. I have a Dell Power Edge switch that will chase you out of
Oh.
the room that you can't
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Like, But
I gotta.
it was $40 on eBay. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I have a full size. Yeah, right. Don't even have a rack big enough for that thing. Cool. All right, we gotta bounce out of
All
here.
right.
I gotta make a show, and do things.
Yeah.
we gotta go cook.
You gotta go make those
Cook.
steaks.
Jesse, we gotta cook.
Just live it up, man. Grind the steaks into beef. And be like, yes, we're gonna make hamburger steak. Steak hamburgers. Throw in the blender.
You're
right
giving
here.
me ideas.
Yeah. I want to read about you in the paper for the wrong reasons.
All of the parasites.
All right, beautiful people. Back Thursday, Friday. My tentative plan right now, since Pedro brought the darkness with the old Doom, is
Doom.
what?
Oh,
I was
I
just
saw you.
toasting to the doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be rocking out with Doom 2016. So some deathmatch with that. I haven't done that. I haven't played deathmatch.
Yeah. That would be really fun, Van. And it's on sale right now on Steam. So I saw you posted that in chat, so I was going to go grab it.
That'll be the thing. Until next week. Bye bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Mhm.